Great. So thank you so much, Alex, for joining me today for this little chat. I wanted to just congratulate you so sincerely on a wonderful presentation that you gave at our local, we're local to you in Adelaide, a recent conference that we had for the Australian, Sleep Down Under. And it was this first ever Science Innovation Communication Award. And your wonderful presentation was first prize. So well done.
Thank you, Maura. And thank you to you and the Sleep Health Foundation for the opportunity. I think opportunities to talk about science and research in a non-kind of scientific way are so important for early career researchers like myself. Learning that skill is really crucial to getting the message out there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's why I'm such a fan of it, and getting young researchers while they're young and while they're new to think about what we need to do at the Sleep Health Foundation is get the wonderful science out of the journals and interpret it and translate it into really simple messages. So you did that really, really well. And I know that it's from sort of lived experience that you have been a shift worker. Can you tell us a bit about sort of your inspiration for why you've sort of ended up doing research on shift work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a paramedic for 14 years, and 10 of those years were full-time shift work. And like a lot of shift workers, I went into it pretty naive and didn't really know what was coming in terms of my health and well-being, and didn't look after myself as well as I should have. And I felt a lot of the negative effects because of that.
Yeah.
And that really led me to want to pursue a career researching this so that I could equip shift workers with some of the information that I maybe didn't receive as a young shift worker. And I think having that lived experience really helps me to appreciate navigating the balance between being in a job that you love, but that sometimes makes you feel like you're getting unwell more often, you don't feel your best, you're tired all the time. So how do we help people navigate that? It's not as easy as just saying, oh, let's boot shift work, because we absolutely need it for so many reasons. But how do we equip people so that they feel like they have the information and the skills and the knowledge to really tackle some of those more challenging aspects? So I'm pretty fortunate that I get to bring that lived experience into the research that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I'm not sure if I even told you that I used to be a nurse. I was a shift worker myself for many years. And I reckon I still would be a nurse
Yep.
if I'd had the information a bit earlier, or we had a bit more flexibility with the rostering, that I could actually, do more of the mornings and stuff that suited me better.
Yep.
But there was all this sort of fairness, of course, it has to, but there was preferences amongst different people, but we weren't allowed to go for our preferences. It was just like you had to do X amount of everything.
Yep.
So there's so much more to be, I'm sure there's so much great work being done within shift work and rostering and health guidelines. What's next for you then? So what are you working on at the moment? What's the new or any same direction or new things?
Yeah, so the most recent study was developing those 18 healthy sleep practice guidelines for shift workers. And while we think those are a really valuable tool, we acknowledge that's just kind of one part of the bigger puzzle for shift worker health. So the project that we've just started now is working with young shift workers specifically to understand what they need to know, not just about their sleep, but also about their nutrition and physical activity, as those three really kind of key pillars of health in their lives. And so we want to take all of that information and then develop it into resources that are freely accessible to shift workers around the world, but really targeting those young shift workers who are coming into professions, maybe not equipped with some of that information that some of us pick up after, 10, 15, 20 years in a job through trial and error. How can we give that to people when they're first starting out to benefit from it? And like you and I, maybe avoid leaving a job. Maybe they can stay in because they will be equipped with that information early on. So we're running some workshops at the moment to co-design those resources with input from shift workers as well as workplace health and safety advisors. And then we're hoping that those resources will be ready and freely available early next year so that we can get those into the hands of shift workers and hopefully really improve their health and well-being.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, we would love to host them for you if you need to disseminate them through the Sleep Health Foundation. Well, that sounds great. So yeah, I think that we can we'll finish our chat there, and I just want to thank you so much for being part of this competition and for all the great work that you do. So well done, Alex.
Thank you so much, Maura. Thanks for having me.